How you going, people? Alright, so I guess this will be part 2 on doorways. Doorways are one of those things, and hell, by the time I unloaded all, I kind of forgot what the hell I talked about. Fatal funnel, I'm entering a door. Notice how when I'm in a dark area, moving to a lit area, I become an easier target. Conversely, if the room is dark and I'm coming from a lit area and I'm coming into a dark area, there's going to be some light changes, there's going to be some vision problems, there are going to be some adjustments. Any adjustment in thought, physical, movement, restriction, confinement, all affect tactics. So, and again, it's hard to give you everything that can go wrong with a doorway. I mean, it's just limitless. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, we were doing training one time, we threw a flashbang, and the guy who hadn't thrown a lot of flashbangs, he kind of reaches around the corner like this to throw the flashbang in, and of course, it hits right here on the door frame to where it bounces exactly back over here and bounces down where a whole team's standing. So we're all like, yeah, bam, and we all get flashbang. So I mean, it just happens. So if it'll happen in training, it's something to be aware of that it can happen in real life, which is why you do lots of training and make lots of mistakes when your life doesn't depend on it. Therefore, when you get into a real situation, the odds of surviving is better. You know, I talk about the SEALs a lot. They train, 365 days. I mean, they get days off, but their job is to train. It's not to do, it's to train. They have safe environments, they have unlimited resources on money, helicopters, planes, rappelling gear, scuba gear, whatever, explosive detonation. They have all this money, and all they do is get paid to train. There's a coordination between all that training and their success rate. Which is why people who are always hollering for cops need more training, I'm like, that's crazy. Cops don't need more training. That's not causing their failure out there. It's causing their failure is a lack of standard. You don't have a standard. You pass people through training, which is good training, but you pass them because you can't fail them because of a quota hire, because of their sex, what bathroom they use, what religion they are, or whatever. So that's the problem. I got a big beef with this guy, Rick Robertson. He's a Dallas radio guy, and all he does is toot Dallas PD about, oh, they need more cops, there are 1,000 cops down. I'm like, dude, shut. When has doubling government ever fixed a problem? This guy claims to be a conservative, and his big answer is, we got to hire 1,000 more cops to make Dallas safe. You got plenty of cops. They're out there writing tickets, eating donuts. They got all kind of special positions. Having more cops, more government and more spending is not the answer. Okay? Now, conversely, when you're back to the military and that's all you do is train, and you train years for maybe 1 or 2 missions, I mean, it's not like the SEALs are out there as a functioning unit. If the SEALs were assigned to the field as a functioning unit to where they were responsible for the other crap that military units are responsible for, upkeep, cleaning, everything that interfered with training, money, budgets, regular work schedule, and training is done on the side, obviously they're going to get more training. So as a citizen or somebody that's not in a business that doesn't get all that free training, you're going to have less training. So my advice would be, make sure the training you get is good. If you're going to have less, make sure it's the best. If you're going to do it all the time, having mediocre training and bad training in between, good training, doesn't matter. But if you're only limited to a limited amount of training, make sure it's good training. Don't try to wing it and go cheap and get bad training, because that may end up hurting you. But I'm kind of, look, the more time you have behind a gun, shooting a gun, finger on a trigger, I think it helps. Unless you're just absolutely training like that other video I did, all the wrong ways, you're developing a lot of bad muscle memory. That guy that I was cracking on doing all his fancy TJ Hooker press check thing, oh, I want to go over press check. So let me go over press check real quick, because a press check is the ridges here and sometimes the ridges will be here to give you more of a grip. Now I can grip this, but it takes a lot of strength to grip this far enough back to where I can see that there's a round in that chamber. You see that? And that's called a press check. So when you see guys doing that, it looks, they're doing their little press check. And that guy was doing that in the middle of things. Is that necessary? No. Is it taught? Yeah. Should it be done all the time for no reason? No. When my gun's in my holster, I know it's freaking loaded. I know there's a round in the chamber because I don't keep my gun in my holster if there's not a round in the chamber. So, press check, whatever. Do I want to come up the door and go, man, we're about to make injury. I better do a press check. Man, if you're doing press checks all the time, there's other issues going on. You should be concentrating on listening, hearing, quiet, tactically thinking, what's my plan, where's my area of responsibility, where am I moving, where's my other team, how many guys are entering. You know, are you going to do a 2-man entry or are you doing a 4-man entry? When we did house clearings as cops, we weren't clearing with a guy in there waiting for us with a gun. So we would have 2 guys. We would come in a room, police, search warrant, we'd do a quick scan, we'd scan around the open areas, check under cushions, open doors, check anything that somebody can hide, and then we'd come out. Clear, coming out, and then we'd come out. And the reason we say clear is 1, it lets our guys know that we haven't found something, and 2, it lets them know that we're coming out so we don't surprise somebody and shoot them. Because most crooks that come out aren't going to yell coming out. When a crook comes out of a room, they come out like this. And they're fucking running and knocking people down. So there's a difference. If you come out of a room like that, you're likely to get shot, slammed to the ground, whatever. So, but that's clearing. What we would do is, you know, a security check or a safety briefing or a security sweep, they'll call it. There's a lot of different names, but basically we come in before we start searching. If I got a search warrant and I'm looking for a tape measure because it got dope in it or whatever, because it was used in a murder, somebody got hung with whatever, I'm looking for a tape measure. If I come in a room, I'm not going to just start searching for the tape measure. I've got to make my environment safe because I don't know. Because the people downstairs told me, no one else is in the house, I'm here by myself. Yeah, well, you're freaking lying. Because I can't tell you the number of times people have been there by themselves and we find 3 or 4 people hiding. So nobody's ever going to rat somebody out. So you never believe them. Rick, you should believe people because most people are good. Yeah, you're a freaking idiot. So when you clear a house, everybody's lying and the room's never cleared until I clear it. And especially if the CHP clears it first, it really isn't cleared until I re-clear it. And toward the end of my career, I absolutely would re-clear rooms. And some of the guys get pissed off. Yo man, I told you it was clear, why are you checking? Because I found too many damn bodies in rooms where you guys said were clear. That's why I'm checking. Man, you're just paranoid, Rick. You don't trust anybody. Whatever. I don't trust CHP. I digress. So, if I come in here and I'm searching for a tape measure, I cannot search this room until I effectively clear it. So that tactical clearing is not tactical clearing if I'm clearing a house where I know that I'm looking for bad guys that are trying to kill me. Totally different tactics. But standard, most of the time we clear rooms, we'd come in, police, search warrant, we'd scan, we'd walk around, one would go this way, one would go this way, 2 of us would come in. If we saw a door, I'd say, you ready? He'd stand there at the door, I would open the door from business cover, he'd clear the door, shut it. If he found a door, he'd stand by the door, I'd walk up, give him a nod, he knows it's ready to open, he'd open the door and I'd stand it. Would I be standing in front of the door when he opened it? No, I'd probably be off at an angle, but I would have a field of view, so when he opened it, I could clear it, and then I would kind of sweep side to side, kind of modified slicing the pie, and we'd go from there. Remember, slicing the pie is a very short, I'm clearing here, I move out, I clear here, I move out, I clear here, I move out, I clear here. And as soon as I see something, I stop. But if I'm slicing the pie on this, on the camera, I don't want to slice the pie like this because the bad guy, you as the camera, as the bad guy, you can see my gun, you can see my gun, you can see my gun. I want to do all my slicing here, and when you see my gun, I should see you and be able to shoot, like right here. My hat's probably going to give me away here. I wouldn't be wearing this hat. But right now I have you in my sights and I'm behind cover. So I've got an option of either ducking back and retreating, engaging, or challenging. But if I don't see, let's say you're the camera, but you're not a bad guy, then I'm going to keep slicing the pie, and I'm just basically clearing inch by inch. I'm slicing around till I can see a foot, a toe, a hand, a gun barrel, something, and I'm just basically clearing. Now this is a modified kind of quick clearing to where I'm kind of slicing a pie. I just did it quickly. If I was really expecting to engage somebody, it would be much slower and much more methodical and take a lot more time. Because I want to pick up an elbow or clothing or something to say, that's my suspect. I see him. I've got him. So now I know. But before I get here, I've already cleared all this that I can see, but I haven't cleared behind here. So after I clear this, then either another guy or another person or I would move and I would start slicing the pie this way. And I'm slicing the pie, I've already cleared this way, but I still haven't broken this barrier, so I don't know what is on this back corner here. And that's where you just kind of got, you either have two guys, one guy comes here and one guy comes here, and we clear it that way, or we mirror it. You get a mirror out, you stick a mirror here and I can clear that corner. I stick a mirror here and I can clear the wall. And mirroring is a little bit more, most cops don't carry on SWAT team, tactical teams, we carry mirrors. I always had one in my car in case we ended up having to clear a room. I could grab a mirror. If you don't have one, bust off a car mirror, take a mirror off a freaking wall, and just hold that mirror in there. If they shoot it, whatever, who cares? There's usually mirrors around that you could use, but mirroring is a great way to where, let's say this doorway here, because the camera's facing here, and in order for me to reach out here and expose myself, if I can get any mirror that would come out here without exposing myself, I can see, if I had a mirror here, what was going on before I came out and exposed myself. And that's just, again, I didn't, I had a couple questions on tactics, and to me what's kind of just normal way of business, a lot of people who've never been exposed to it don't understand why or the reason or how complex or how many variables there are to just entering a doorway. And then you get into hallways, stairwells, locked room versus unlocked rooms. Unlocked, we can go ahead and enter and clear. But if we have an unlocked room, that means if somebody's in there, they can come out at their choosing, they can act, and we have to react. So what do we do on locked rooms? We normally station a guy, and he's covering that locked room. And then the rest of the guys clear. The problem with that is you start losing team members. If you start off with 5 guys clearing, and you come across 2 locked rooms, now you're doing the 3 clearing. And if you need 2 to enter a room, you've only got 1 guy in a hallway. So you start losing numbers quickly when you get into multiple rooms, larger houses, larger areas. And then you have to worry about, you have to clear in a certain way that you don't want somebody getting behind you. So you never walk past an uncleared room unless you're CHP. You never leave a locked room uncleared. You don't pass it until you clear it, you pick it, you kick the door, you bang. Hey, you know what? We've kicked many locked doors in a house. Somebody asks, if somebody has a warrant, can they force entry if you're not home? Because they need to show you the warrant. If you're not home, they can't show you the warrant, so they can't enter. That's not true. Once I have a search warrant, I can enter your house at any time I want, and I can search it. Now, if I don't have nighttime service, then I have to go with whatever the state says. And normally it's normally 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Those numbers are about variance. Anything after 11 p.m. or before 6 p.m. is considered nighttime service. The likelihood of a homeowner thinking you're a burglar is higher. Therefore, you need to justify to a judge why you want nighttime service. Why do you want to enter at 2 in the morning and when you can enter at 9 at night? And justifications with that would be at 9 at night they have parties. They usually shut down their parties at midnight. Everybody appears to be asleep at 2. We'll be safer if we enter 2. If we enter during a party, there's alcohol, weapons involved, more people are there, etc. So, depending on how you justify, you can get nighttime service. It's pretty easy. But again, a lot of people, when I talk about what cops do, they think that cops are doing that to what I call normal righteous citizens. I'm talking about usually hardcore bad guys who are drugs, raping, murdering. I mean, we're talking bad guys. We're not talking somebody who has a parking ticket warrant and now a cop wants nighttime service on a parking ticket warrant because he knows the guy has a gun. No judge is going to give him that. No cop's going to ask. Most people are never going to make entry on a non-violent felony at night. It just doesn't happen. If you're making a nighttime entry, it's going to be a violent felon. You're dealing with violent gang members, violent guys, armed guys, shooters, murderers, etc. So when you get nighttime service, you got to have some justification. I've got nighttime service on several warrants. And it's not hard, but you have to be able to articulate it and make it sound reasonable, and there's not a better way to do it. So anyway, a little bit on tactics, doorways, enters. Again, a lot of times when somebody asks a simple question and I explain it simply, I create more questions than answers. And people be like, damn, that didn't clear anything. Now he just threw out 50 other things that I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Well, that's kind of good because you're learning. And you realize that things aren't simple, and you realize how much more you need to know and how much more there is to know, and how the guys who are out there telling you, because I watched a video, I'm an expert, they don't understand all the things that can go wrong. They haven't had the training failures. They haven't had the actual failures. They haven't been challenged in court. They haven't had to justify their actions in federal court or state courts in different states under different rules and all. So all those experiences help just, put more shit in a toolbox. So when I pull things out of my toolbox, sometimes people are like, man, I never thought of. I was talking to a guy who's about to go to the academy that, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And to me, it's just standard that if you go to domestic violence, or if you've got somebody that's beat, and you want to make sure and show the person is beat up good, you always go back 2 or 3 days later, because bruises kind of peak out at 2 or 3 days. So anytime there was a domestic violence call, or if I got signed an investigation and it dealt with a domestic violence and there was issues and they needed more follow-up and they sent it to the DA's office for me to go after it, I would always go back and try to get to that victim within 3 days with a camera to get better pictures of the bruising. Because if you get in a fight, you may not bruise for a couple hours, you may not bruise for 6 hours, you may not bruise till the next day. I mean, I've hit myself sometime and 2 days later a bruise shows up. I mean, I was limping for 2 days, but then after the 2 days and I'm walking normal, then I see a big old bruise. To me it was just like, we were just talking about something, and I was like, I don't know, investigation or something. Somehow it brought up, and I went, DVs, you always want to make sure and go back 2 or 3 days later and take pictures because the bruise will be better. And he was like, man, I never thought of that. Who would know that? And I don't even know if they teach it. I mean, I guess they taught it somewhere because I picked it up or somebody did it and said to do it. But those are just actual little things that, again, I didn't get a lesson plan. I'm trying to make these videos kind of like we're just bullshitting, and I'm just kind of talking, just telling you things that are flying off the cuff. And I think there's some value, some learning value in that. Could I make this a 2-minute video and only cover topics 1, 2, and 3 and why 1, 2, and 3 and make it very concise? I could, but you know what? That would take more time for me, and I mean, to be honest, somebody asks a question, I grab a video and I go, okay, let me wing it, and I'll just go off my head and pull shit up. So if it sounds disorganized, if it sounds unorganized, guess what? It is. I'm just winging it. So relax. All right, we'll end that there on doorways, fatal funnels, and whatever. Ooh, that little gun snuck up on me. I didn't know that was there. I knew it was there, you big dummy.